Here's the ultimate crafting guide to get those insane artifacts. Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? NoGoodEman coming to you today with the ultimate artifact crafting guide video. So guys, in this video, I want to showcase to you guys the newest artifact crafting system that just released for the 1-year anniversary. This is honestly an insane system that allows us to essentially craft any artifact we want, and we can even decide things like the main stat and some of the substats. So strap in, folks. We're going to teach you guys the best way to craft your artifacts for any single hunter, any single substat, and even how to obtain these materials. But before we talk a single thing, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. If you're new, go to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss a live or an upload, and of course support your boy all on that Netmarble website. Join over 369 supporters in supporting the Monica Gaming to get those free codes. But let's go ahead and get straight into it. First and foremost, if you guys are playing around the 1-year anniversary, go ahead and check that mailbox, because shout out the devs, they just released a bunch of artifact crafting materials in the mailbox. And with this, everybody now has the ability to craft level 100 artifacts at least one time. But I do want to talk about how you guys get these materials you see right in front of you. Each and every one of these materials, whether it be the Luminous Prism 2, whether it be the Luminous Prism 1, whether it be the level 100 artifact recipes, or whether it be the artifact fragments, you guys can see it. You guys have to play instance and encore dungeons. But how early do you guys get this? Well, I already scoured, and it turns out at tier 12, this is the earliest you guys can start getting those artifact fragments, and then at tier 13, that is when you guys can start getting those luminous fragments 1 and luminous fragments 2. And then tier 12, I do want to mention you guys can get luminous prisms 1, but of course you probably want to grind the highest tier possible. Now, of course, when you guys are watching this video, I do want to say the update just hit, so the rates on this are going to be super shitty, but of course, per usual, the higher tier you do, the more likely you are to get the higher rewards. Now, obviously, tier 30 is probably the best tier you guys want to go for. Now, a lot of you guys might not be endgame players, but regardless, that is how you guys go about getting the material. Now, when it comes to using the material, you have to personally decide which hunter you want to use it for, whether it be your newest hunters, whether it be your son JINWOO. Regardless, guys, I'm going to give you guys the ultimate crafting strategy. So we're not going to talk about the best artifact for each and every hunter, but if you guys want to know some stats or some basic help, go to change artifacts, and in this section you can see the recommended set. I honestly start to trust Netmarble when it comes to these recommended sets because they've been hitting on the nail recently. So Chaotic Infamy for the new Chahayan, Burning Curse for the new Chahayan, you're two-piecing this with Obsidian on the right side. This is the best stat that's getting us a lot of damage with our Chahayans, and as you can see, the devs already know this because Outstanding Ability is the #1 set they want for her. But what about stats? Well, if you missed it, when I go to change artifacts, guys, in this top section, this is the priority of stats you guys should aim for. So for Cha, defense is the most important, again, because she's a defensive scaling DPS. Critical hit rate will be the next most important thing, and then critical hit damage will be the after important thing. And then of course, you always want to go for things like damage increase, MP consumption reduction if there's a high MP using character. But I do want to note that those are going to be the most important things that you want to look for in each and every character. And this will change, right? So it won't always be attack as the main stat, defense as the main stat. I do want to showcase to you guys Yu Sohyun, which her defensive penetration is actually more prioritized than her attack and her critical hit rate. So that's just an example of characters that you might want to look for. So if we look at Amamiya Mirai, for example, obviously you want that attack, but then they want her to get a bunch of MP. Regardless, guys, go about crafting your artifact stats in that same regard. Now let's go ahead and go down to crafting, talking about how you guys want to go about crafting these artifacts. So for my new Chahayan, she does not have 4-piece Chaotic Infamy. So let's try to build a 4-piece Chaotic Infamy set in this one video alone. We're going to go ahead and start off. And I do want to say, if you guys are going to build level 75 sets, you guys cannot choose the stats here. So obviously you probably just want to do level 100s anyway. So talking about the level 100 stats, let's go down to Chaotic Infamy, and we're going to just do a test run on a, let's say, body piece. So we can confirm our crafting target, and now we can go into stat settings. Do not press craft because you guys will get a random RNG based Chaotic Infamy body armor. Now, of course, if you're feeling lucky, go ahead and pull your luck, but I'm personally going to manually do this. We want additional defense as the main stat, and then we just saw the most two important things to Chahayan being defense and critical hit rate, and then critical hit damage. Now on the left side of artifacts, you can't get critical hit damage unless it's the boost as a main stat, and we're going to talk about the boots in a second. But let's go ahead and click confirm. As you can see, this is all the materials it's gonna use. Now, the next 2 substats will be completely RNG. I'm hoping for good luck. Obviously, I would want something like additional MP for Cha, maybe damage increase, maybe MP consumption reduction, but it is completely up to Netmarble what they give me. But at least we can choose 3 stats. I will say, at least we can choose 3 stats, and then we end up getting defensive penetration and then additional attack. Now, as far as the roles, guys, that is completely up to you. And I will say, when May's artifact modification comes back, and who knows how long, it's going to take a while for that event to come back. But now we have the ability to enhance this now to the max. So let's go ahead and enhance this to the max. Seeing how lucky we get. Oh my gosh, Devs, how did you do me like this? None on the defense. That's okay though. But you guys see the point. It's still going to be very RNG based, but this is still a very good set because she's getting a lot of D-pen, she's getting a lot of crit, and then she does have a bunch of defense either on the percentage or on the main stat. Now let's go ahead and graft a Chahayan helmet, right? Because we need to get that 4 pieces on her. So we're going to get those 4 pieces on her. Stat settings to get those stats up. We're going to choose additional defense as the main stat, and then do remember those 2 subsets that are important. Now, I do want to say something because Chahayan actually does have a lot, and I mean a lot of crit, right? She has more crit than her critical hit damage. So in this case, on the helmet, I am not going to go for critical hit rate. Keep in mind, guys, you can actually get critical hit rate as a role regardless. So it's all about the probability and the chances, but stat settings, let's go ahead and get additional defense as the main stat. And now I'm going for defensive percentage, and I want to increase my damage. So let's go for damage increase. So you can change it up like that because keep in mind, you still have the ability to maybe get critical hit rate, maybe get additional MP consumption reduction, and that would be the perfect helmet in that case. But not everybody's perfect, not every role is perfect, but let's see what we get here. We get MP consumption reduction and then damage reduction. So honestly, this is near perfect what I could idealize, right? Because if I roll +3 on the MP consumption reduction, while that's not too favorable, Cha does burn through a lot of MP, especially in the guild boss. And we're getting 4-piece chaotic infamy, or we're really trying to build for 8-piece chaotic infamy for things like guild boss, for things like power destruction, so she can shine even more. And as you guys can see, a 49 equipment score at just base is insane. So let's go ahead and enhance it and see how insane it can get. Ooh, oh my gosh. Now that is a piece. Now that is a piece. +2 defense, +1 damage increase, +1 MP consumption reduction. Can you say chef's kiss? Let's go ahead and just throw this on Chahayan so we can just see the difference in Chahayan. If you wanted to know what she was at base, she had about 42k defense. Now it did drop a bit, and I do want to say the main reason it did drop is because I do have a +3 defensive piece right here. So this is an insane piece that I honestly probably won't switch out. I'll probably go 2-piece chaotic infamy, 2-piece curse until I can get a +3 defense on either a helmet or really the chest plate. I might re-roll on the chest plate until I can get something more favorable, or I might save this chest plate until May's artifact crafting comes back. But regardless, guys, you can see the amount of difference when it comes to building your artifacts by complete RNG. Now, when it comes to getting those materials, it's still going to be a pain. It's still going to be a pain. It's still going to be a pain. But regardless, make sure that you know the perfect rules when it comes to crafting your artifacts. So for your hunters, guys, whether it be any hunter at all, if you're going to craft the helmet, make sure that your main stat is a flat stat. So that's going to be your additional attack, your additional defense, or your additional HP. When you're going for substats, that is when I would go for the percentage. So when it comes to, let's say, an HP dealing DPS, or let's say Sauron in this case, let's go ahead and try to build a set for my Sauron, right? And I'm just using this as an example. You guys can use this on any character. Looking at Sauron right now, I want to find out what's the most recommended artifact for her. It is Chaotic Desire. I'm already rocking Chaotic Desire. Let's find a piece of Chaotic Desire that's not too favorable. So we're looking through the substats. This one right here, these boots, while it is okay, I would like my Sauron to have maybe a bit more HP. So let's try to get that up by changing those boots around. Now, of course, we talked about it. Knowing what to put on your character, let's go ahead and go back to Sauron actually, because I didn't pay attention to that main top, but I already know what, to get on her. But just showing you guys HP, damage increase, and critical hit damage is the main keys for Sauron. I think she has a lot of crit built into her crit as far as critical hit rate, so you don't have to worry about that too often. And then let me check my Sauron crit now so I can see how much I might lose if I switch off those boots. So she has a lot of crit right here, so I'm gonna lose a decent amount, but of course I can get crit through things like cores. So critical hit rate, critical hit damage, damage increase, things like that. There are many stats that you guys can get through cores. So if you're lacking in any regard, just look for a core to kind of fill you in on that regard. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw on maybe this Sun JINWOO critical hit piece because I'm about to lose a lot of crit from my boots. Now, obviously it's a lot, but if we unequip, let's unequip this because we're about to refill it with a new Desire boots. Now, boom, even with that unequipped, now I still have a lot of crit. So I definitely do not have to go for crit when I'm about to build this artifact piece. So let's go ahead and build it. Talking about Chaotic Desire boots. We want this for Lady Sauron, and of course, time to craft. Now, when it comes to the stat settings here, most of these can be either critical hit damage, defensive penetration, defensive percent, HP percent, healing given increase percent. When it comes to the boots, this is gonna actually differ. So I said when it comes to like flat stats, you want to put that on your character, but boots are different in this regard, and then earrings are different in this regard because that's just additional MP is the main stat. Here, we're going HP percentage, then we want damage increase, right? And then I'm gonna go for additional HP to get Sauron even more, and I mean even more HP, and this is gonna be an insane piece. I can already feel it. Let's see what the devs give to us. Level 100 Chaotic Desire boots. Let's look at it, and boom, MP consumption reduction and defensive percent. Another good piece, guys. This is honestly a very decent system, but of course, how does it roll? We've gotten one favorable roll with the Chai hand piece, and then the second roll was not too favorable, but let's see what we get on Lady Sauron. Oh, we ran out of crafting materials, so let's actually craft some more materials. And as you can see, we did end up getting damage increase +1, HP +1, so that is pretty good. Let's take this up to +20 though. Damage increase +2, MP consumption +1. A very insane piece that now we're gonna put on Sauron. She gets almost 50k power from that piece alone, and now we've reached that 65k HP. So giving you guys an idea of how you guys want to build these artifact sets. Now, let's talk about the boy Sun JINWOO because he is the anomaly, right? He's always going to be the anomaly. When it comes to Sun JINWOO, I kind of build him the same way I build my hunters in that regard. So additional attack as the main set, and I do go for attack percentage as the substats. Now, in the near future, once we get to those higher levels and we have so much attack, we might end up inversing that. So attack percentage as the main stat, and then additional attack as the, or no, attack percentage is the main stat, additional attack is the substats. But right now, I do not need to do that. Now, what does my Sun JINWOO need? Let's see where he's lacking. Where is he actually lacking, right? We've got a lot of crazy pieces, right? And we're rocking 200 points on intelligence, but Sun JINWOO has like attack +3 in a lot of places. So where can I actually improve? Let's see. Dude, all of these have attack +2. I don't even know where I can improve. Let's look at my beast sets. Maybe one of my beast sets are lacking wind damage, attack +3. Dude, all of these are actually pretty insane. I can't lie. I almost don't want to make a new piece because it would be almost a waste, but my Sun JINWOO, let's say I want to build, I don't know, man. Let's just go ahead and craft something for maybe another hunter. Let's do it for an attack-based hunter. Where is Miss Tawatakane, right? Because we know the fire meta is always going to be prevalent in some way, shape, or form. Let's see what she's rocking. These are less favorable. Let's go ahead and get her a better piece. Let's go ahead and hook Miss Tawata up. As you guys know, Miss Tawatakane, she is based off of, let's see it, she is based off of attack, critical hit rate, and critical hit damage. So almost the same way as Chahayan, except now you're going to go for attack instead of defense. Now, let's go ahead and build something on the, let's say, right side, because I haven't even talked about artifacts on the right side. So let's go ahead and talk about them. When it comes to the necklaces, you only have two choices for the main effects. I would probably go additional HP as the main stat. And then when it comes to the substat, this is actually when it can get pretty, and I mean pretty insane, right? Because on the right side, you can double down on your attack. Now, let's go ahead and look at some of these. We can get double attack on just one piece, and then the rest of that is up to chance. Now, in a perfect world, build. For CHATOIC, I would get something like critical hit damage or MP consumption reduction or damage increase, but again, we don't live in a perfect world. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some more pieces. The bracelet. When it comes to the bracelet, just get whatever damage you want for the main stat, or whatever hunter you want, whatever element they are, whoever you're building it for. And then do remember, we're on the right side, so now we can double down on that substat. So a double attack can go double defense if it's a defensive unit, go double HP if it's an HP based unit. Of course, you don't want to do that for the B set specifically because that's only for attack units. Now, when it comes to the ring, again, this has so much RNG. This has probably the second or third most RNG as the helmets or the boots, but let's go ahead and talk about how you guys want to craft the ring. When it comes to the ring, again, follow the same rule. The ring is almost exactly like the helmet, in which you can go flat or percentage on the main stat. So for CHATOIC, of course, we would go additional attack, and then we would look for attack as a substat, and then I would get her that critical hit damage. So no critical hit rate on the right side, it's only on the left side, so keep that in mind. We would confirm that, and then we would craft that. And then finally, as we talked about the earrings, thankfully, this is already locked, so you don't really have to worry about the main stat too much, but those substats can get quite insane once more. So we could get something like double attack, and then we can hope for something like the critical hit damage increase. But the main overarching theme is that we have the ability to choose almost 3 of our substats, guys. So 3 out of 5 of the substats are now in our hands, and for the 1-year anniversary, this is much needed. So shout out to Devs for adding this into the game. Let's go ahead and talk about how you guys might want to build a support unit per se, because we've been talking about the DPS units, we've been talking about the breaker units, but we haven't talked about a single support unit. So what's a good support unit in the game? Let's talk about Isla Wright. Let's go ahead and level her up too, because she's a little bit lacking there. Let's get her to 107. So Isla Wright, she currently has Guardian and Peridot. It's not terrible, but we eventually want to get her something better. So Isla Wright scales off of defense. She wants some damage increase, and then she wants some healing given increase. We can definitely give that to her. All of these are pieces are level 75, so she can honestly use a boost just about anywhere. Now, let's go ahead and try to build a piece for Isla Wright, or just for any type of defensive support unit. I think Isla Wright's the only defensive support unit, but Chaotic Wish is the wish. Now let's go ahead and throw on something. Starting with the left side, I will say, if you guys want to know what you want to craft first, when it comes to which artifacts you want to craft first, I do say craft the helmet first, because this has so much RNG embedded, and then go over to that right side and craft the ring next, because that has about the same amount of RNG embedded, and then go on over to the boots, because that has like the 3rd most RNG embedded. And then from there, I would either go for some more artifacts on the right side, and if you're an earlier game player, you might just want to prioritize artifacts on the left side. But regardless, make sure that you guys are getting 4-piece, 2-piece, and 4-piece sets, because as you guys know, when you guys have artifacts of the same type, that's when they get insane, and you get insane buffs on the field. So you don't want to do, let's say, an auto equip that just gives you a bunch of random artifacts, right? Iron Will, Chaotic Desire, 2-piece Curse, 4-piece Beast. While this is the highest equipment score I could go for, my JINWOO power would probably increase. This isn't favorable at all, right? So not in the slightest, right? We definitely don't want to do this, right? So a lot of people, they ask me, hey, is it cool if I just auto equip the equipment score? I mean, you can, and it probably would net you a positive, but you're losing a lot of damage by missing out on those 2-piece sets, on those 4-piece sets. So make sure you can grind for them when you can. Keyword, when you can, because again, getting these artifact materials are complete RNG. I mean, the devs literally just dropped us a freebie just now because they knew how shitty they make their rates for the start. Now, let's go ahead and go back. We're almost done with the video, guys, so bear with me here. But as we said, helmet is one of the most pieces with the most amount of RNG embedded. Let's go ahead and confirm that crafting target. We're gonna go some stat breakdowns. We're gonna do additional defense as the main stat. And then if you remembered, Isla Wright actually does like some damage increase. So we're gonna put her some damage increase, and then I would put healing given increase as another stat, but she only gets that, I believe, in the main stat of the boot. So we're missing out on healing given increase, but that is quite all right, because I can get Isla Wright some critical hit rate. Boom. Now, perfect Chaotic Desire for any defensive support unit. Now, of course, you might not want to build Chaotic Desires for, let's say, Isla Wright. Chaotic Desire can be useful for an amount of characters, but, oh no, this is Chaotic Wish, sorry. But anyways, I probably would build this for an HP unit, just because HP units are more, or HP support units are more often in the game. And let's see, if we do additional HP as the main stat, we can go ahead and go for HP percentage as the substat, and then we can aim for critical hit rate as the other substat. So what do we learn here? The main thing to know is when you're building for a hunter, just look at their artifacts, look at what's recommended for them, and then pay attention to these main three. Those main threes are going to be the most important that you guys want to look for in a character, and this won't change. So if I just looked at the right side, it's the same as the left side. So the game will basically give you the keys to how you guys want to increase your damage on your character. Don't forget to pay attention to the recommended set. Obviously, with newer artifacts being embedded into the game, Netmarble might not update the older characters and the older recommended, so just tune into a live stream, tune into the videos, and then you can see what's the best artifacts for every character. We could make a video talking about all the artifacts for each and every character in the game. Leave a like and a comment if you do want to see that, but I feel like that's going to be an even longer video than this one specifically. And with that, what do you guys think of the artifact crafting video? Make sure you leave your thoughts, theories, and comments below. We hit the challenges. That's a W challenge, enhancement 30 times. Oh my gosh, we were enhancing quite a bit. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care. Peace.